Well, after the president's tweet, Truth Social post, threatening to take out an entire civilization, threatening to bomb civilians by saying that a whole nation will die tonight, never to be brought back. Nuclear arms, nuclear weapons being the only way to interpret that, the only way that you can take out an entire civilization. After that, there's been some major fallout, many calling for the 25th Amendment or impeachment, some way to remove him, some way to restrain him. He cannot continue to go on. That is very clear. He cannot continue to go on as commander in chief of the military of this nation. No. Megyn Kelly goes nuclear on Trump. We'll take a look at that. Also, Karoline Leavitt has asked some questions and has to respond. Karoline Leavitt grilled by White House reporters over Trump's remarks there that a civilization will die tonight. So we'll get to that here. Let's get to this first thing. Megyn Kelly's response. This is on the Young Turks, a leftist outlet. And what's interesting here, I'll play enough of it. Maybe we'll get to a certain point. This is Anna Kasparian. It's interesting how we see certain independent media on the left and the right, but not corporate media. Certainly not. You're not going to see it from legacy media or corporate media, but from independent media outlets that have podcasts, YouTube channels, that you see an understanding of the corruption and the problem of going to war and the problem of threatening to genocide entire civilizations, that people can agree on those things. So if you have issues with certain sources, you need to learn how to think for yourself. You need to learn how to take in information from different sources. And yes, even I'm not advocating to go listen to left-wing sources, but there are certain people that I've found to be on certain topics pretty good on those topics. Anna Kasparian has seemed to be one of them when it comes to foreign influence on this nation and the Young Turks. So anyway, we'll go and we'll listen to some of that, and then we'll jump over to the Karoline Leavitt clip. Okay, let's get started.
His negotiation tactic is to kill an entire country full of civilians, men, women, and children. An American president, so that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. It's just wrong. It's not hard to say it. It's not hard to recognize it. I wish he would stop doing this.
Megyn Kelly, as is the case with other high-profile Republicans, had some pretty harsh words for President Donald Trump following his unhinged, lunatic threats against Iran, including a threat to wipe out their civilization and commit a Holocaust if they failed to play ball with Trump in opening the Strait of Hormuz. Now, luckily, Trump did not make good on that promise or that threat. And so what we actually got was a very fragile 2-week ceasefire. We'll see if that lasts. Nonetheless, it is well-deserved criticism coming from the likes of Tucker Carlson and, in this case, Megyn Kelly. But even Ro Khanna, I just want to give him credit because he very clearly is looking for ways to find unity, to work with people to actually get results for the American people. And in this next clip, he actually praises some of the Republican media figures who have been speaking out against Trump and believes it's what led to Trump's ceasefire agreement with Iran, however fragile it might be. Take a look.
As a human being and as an American citizen, I am relieved that Donald Trump has accepted a ceasefire and withdrawn his threat to destroy Iranian civilization. But let's be clear, this did not happen because of Congress, which barely made a whimper. This happened because of the force of the American people, not just progressives and liberals, but conservatives like Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and even Ann Coulter spoke out against the horror of threatening genocide against another people. this tells me one thing. The only thing that will save this country, the only thing that will save our democracy is a broad populist social movement, anti-Epstein class, anti-war, pro-working class.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, we need all of that, anti-establishment, the party game, the not stepping outside of boundaries is a problem that people need to step out of that mindset. That's it. There's obviously a way that certain people think about politics and think about morality, to where they can't say things that seem to go outside of the party line. The Republicans, it's like, well, yeah, we know all the core values, but then when it comes to this, it's like, well, we can't speak outside a step of whatever they think MAGA is, which is like completely done. It's completely destroyed. There's MEGA, and Make Israel Great Again, right? That exists, but there's no such thing as MAGA as a political movement in the government right now, in the White House. It's completely gone.
I totally agree with what he said there. So if you're seeing everything in politics through a partisan lens,
this is good. She gets into that too, so it's hopeful.
You might think what Ro Khanna said there is crazy, but just try.
It's crazy because of the source. It's crazy because of the Democrats. And this is, big time boomer thinking, and this is thinking that a lot of people fall into, because it's all based on the source of who's saying it, not on what's being said. That's what we see it in all kinds of things. It happens in politics. It happens in theological camps. It happens everywhere. It's based on the source of who's saying it. People base things more on the source of who's saying it than they do on what is actually being said, the actual claim that's being made. And that's a problem. And as Christians, we have to accept truth claims that are truthful and statements that are just proper. We have to accept them no matter what source they come from. If it's true, it's true.
I know it's hard. Try to get yourself out of seeing everything as left versus right. Oh, Tucker Carlson's a right winger. Megyn Kelly's a right winger. We don't agree with them on lots of things.
Okay. And she's speaking, of course, to her leftist audience, primarily leftist audience. I'm sure they have a lot of Tucker viewers too, but anyway.
Okay, I mean, a perfect example is reproductive rights. I hate Tucker Carlson.
There you go. Yeah, she believes like abortion is a sacrament, and we know like that is an absolute horrific thing. That is the Holocaust that we have seen going on, and so we vote against that Holocaust. But the sad thing is, the same people that vote against the Holocaust of abortion are perfectly fine with the President of the United States threatening a Holocaust. You see the double standard? This is a problem.
Position on reproductive rights, wholeheartedly, period, end of story. He is right when it comes to the Middle East. He is right when it comes to Donald Trump's prosecution of this war in Iran. So if on this particular issue, there's an avenue in which the left and the right can work together to actually move toward progress, we should do it. And I love the fact that Ro Khanna is making that clear to the American people. Now let's get back to Megyn Kelly.
She goes on to talk about some things she disagreed with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly said some dumb things, and I can only play so much of the clip. Anyway, we're going to jump over to another clip just to be copyright safe. And also, this is just quite something. Karoline Leavitt, so we're going to play about 2 minutes and 20 seconds of this, of some of the Q&As that she's getting asked. She's getting asked questions along the lines of how America can hold the moral high ground after what is said, and how you respond to the president threatening the nuclear action and threatening to eliminate an entire civilization. What do you do with this? And what she says is interesting and troubling, very troubling. And also just she wants to quit. I'm sure she wants to quit.
John.
Regarding the president's rhetoric, yesterday the president threatened to destroy Iran's civilization, the entire civilization. Not the Iranian government, but the Iranian civilization, the Iranian people. The U.S. has been a moral leader for most of its history by fighting wars against other governments, not against civilizations. How can the president claim that America can ever have the moral high ground if he's threatening to destroy civilizations and not casting wars as fights against other governments?
Andrew, I think you should take a look at the actions of this president over the course of the past 6 weeks and the actions of our brave men and women in our United States military who have taken out essentially taken out the military of a rogue Islamic regime that has chanted death to America for 47 years, that has killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers over the course of the last 5 decades. The president absolutely has the moral high ground over the Iranian terrorist regime, and for you to even suggest otherwise is frankly insulting.
With all due respect, Karoline,
Go ahead.
with all due respect,
Go ahead.
there is...
Caroline, I'm just, given the gravity of what he said yesterday, what was your understanding of what he meant when he said, this civilization is going to be eliminated?
I think it was a very, very strong threat from the President of the United States that led the Iranian regime to cave to their knees and ask for a ceasefire and agree to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. So it was a very strong threat that led to results. And as the Secretary of War stated at the Pentagon this morning, it was not an empty threat by any means. The Pentagon had a target list that they were ready to hit go on at 8 p.m. last night.
That's the scariest part. Let's hear that again. She's saying it was not an empty threat. You know, everyone just assumes this is an empty threat. Should we believe her? Should we believe Hegseth? I don't know, but this is what they're saying. This is not an empty threat. He was ready to nuke them.
Pentagon this morning. It was not an empty threat by any means. The Pentagon had a target list that they were ready to hit go on at 8 p.m. last night if the Iranian regime had not agreed to open the strait, which they did, and I think that's something we should all be grateful for.
The United States is a moral leader in the world, given that he
I was asked this exact same question by your colleague Andrew in the back, and I think, again, the insinuation by anyone in this room that Iran somehow has the moral high ground over the United States of America is insulting, considering the atrocities that they have committed against our people and our military over the past 5 decades.
So if your morality is based upon your Christian upbringing, hopefully it's based on the Bible, but I don't know who's watching this. But if you have a moral compass that understands that this is just plain wrong, then you're the problem. You're the problem. I think everyone should have been taking that seriously. I think everyone should. I don't understand. You didn't have to listen to anyone's commentary about it, anything. Once you read that, it should have been horrifying that the president of the United States would be threatening to Holocaust an entire civilization. You can, well, it's just a bluff and whatever else. Well, you know, like we've seen his previous posts. He's getting pretty fed up, getting desperate. Desperate's the word. In way over his head. And this is absolutely desperate. And desperation leads to desperate measures. How do we end this thing? And he was toying around with just nuking the nation. Nuking civilians. Taking out innocent civilians, which is not a Western standard. That is a barbaric standard, and the West can no longer that has moved away from Western values, Christian values, American values. It's nowhere near any of those values. It's nowhere near American values. And if someone could literally hear him say that, read what he said, and not have a problem with that, they need to reevaluate why they can read that and not have a problem. Because that's absurd. Well, that's all I've got. So, go ahead and like this. Hit subscribe. I don't have a happy ending for you, but continue to pray, and we'll see you in the next video. Take a look down in the pinned comment for the trailer to this channel. God bless.